Hello. I don't know what vlog this is going to end up in, but I started reading a book that I just desperately need to talk to you about. So, if you watched my last vlog from March, I didn't find any 5-star reads in March. That's not true. I read one 5-star read in March, and I was kind of hunting for another. And nothing was really scratching that itch. So I have decided to completely switch genres. I was reading fantasy and horror and middle grade middle grade fantasy, and I was just lit fic. I was trying all sorts of genres, and I was like, you know what? It's been a minute since I read romance, and so I'm actually in the middle of not middle. I started two romance books, and I just really have to talk to you about this one because I'm having such a good time with Always Practice Safe Hex by Juliet Cross. This is a paranormal romance. It says it's book 4 of this series. I actually heard about this book from Mina Reads. Shout out, girl. Miss you on YouTube. But she recommended this book a couple of years ago, so it's been on my radar for a while. But I finally got my hands on it, and oh boy, am I having fun. Do I know much about our two protagonists? Not really. This book just immediately jumps in to the sexual tension and chemistry. Just immediately. It's like, hey, we've got Livy, she's a witch. Hey, we've got Gareth Blackwater, who is a Grimm. He has these magical powers. She has those magical powers. Oh yeah, and the tension is off the charts. Let's dive in. So this is about these two characters who are work rivals, and they are collaborating but also competing against each other for a PR gig. So they have to kind of collaborate, but they're also competing against each other. So I love that. That is one of my favorite things in romance, is when characters are forced in close proximity because they have to work on something together. The fact that this is a workplace romance is great. I love that. And it starts right away with the flirting and the tension between these characters, from page 1. This is going to be raunchy. This is going to be smutty. This is already really sexy, and nothing physical has happened. But we've talked about things, we've flirted, and I'm just eating this up. I'm like, I don't know anything about these characters. I'm only 20 pages in. I really just started. I don't know anything about them, but I'm having such a fun time watching them banter with each other. So hopefully we will learn more about these characters. But so far, I'm just eating this up. So fun. So different from what I've been reading recently. The other romance I'm listening to, is Diana Quincy's The Earl That Got Away, which I want to read more Diana Quincy because she's a Palestinian American author writing historical romance, which is my jam. And so I want to read more of that. But this is maybe not the one for me because this is a Persuasion retelling by Jane Austen. And I hated Persuasion. So this is my bad, but I'm going to give it a fair chance and try to read it with an open mind. Hopefully this author's interpretation of Persuasion will sway me. But Persuasion is essentially a second chance romance, and that's what's going on in this book. We have a Palestinian American heroine and an English Earl, obviously, who met when they were young and then broke up, and now it's 10 years later. And they're meeting again and falling in love again. So that's on me for maybe not reading the synopsis of this one, but it's what I have available. So I'm going to, again, try to keep an open mind. But this is my audiobook. I also have my physical book. So hopefully some of this romance will scratch that itch for me. You know what I realized I've been doing? Even with my mini mic, I've been sitting really close to the camera because I'm not used to having a microphone situation. So I can sit as far away from the camera as possible and the audio is still decent. At least I hope so. I'm so glad I filmed that little clip yesterday talking about the romance reads that I had on the docket, just because I was so excited about them, because it's like the universe heard me and like knew I was having a bad week health-wise and just decided to throw me a bone. And 2 additional library holds came in for more romance books. So I got my hands on Get Over It, April Evans by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a contemporary sapphic romance. This author has some of my favorite books that I've ever read. Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I love those books. However, several of her other releases have been 2, 3 stars, things that I really haven't enjoyed. So she's really 50-50 for me, whether a book from her I could love or despise. So this is another sapphic romance from this author. So I'm going into this one with like middling expectations. I'm hoping it's going to be a slam dunk, smash hit. I don't know. I hope this is a really good read for me, but I'm kind of going in with middling expectations just because I've been very hit or miss with this author in the past. Not a romance book, but really quickly, I just want to say I also got the 14th volume of A Man and His Cate by Umi Sakurai, which is just usually a delightful time. It's not a romance series, but it's a good pick-me-up, so that might be a quick read also. And the other romance novel I got is a romantasy or a paranormal romance. I'm not quite sure. It's Wolf Steps in Blood by Tamara Jarre. Tamara? Apologies for the pronunciation. I read another book by this author called The Fall That Saved Us, and that was a really interesting sapphic romance featuring a character overcoming a family abusive situation and like stepping away from that and healing from that trauma. So it was really trauma focused, and it was really beautiful romance between basically a demon hunter and a demon falling for each other. So that one was a good, powerful romance. I don't think it was fun necessarily based on the subject matter, but it was a well done romance. I think I'd give it 4 stars. And so this is another book by this author. I'm assuming it's sapphic. It seems a little paranormal with werewolves this time instead of, demons and angels. So I am in for a great reading weekend. So I obviously, library books take precedent because I only have a limited time with them. And the other 2 books that I mentioned yesterday, I own, one physical and one I own digitally. So, I really, I would love to make progress on all these books and not have to put something down I'm enjoying in the middle of. So, I still have a little bit of my workday left. I just showered. I'm feeling a little bit more like a human being after this tough week that I've had with my health not being great. I can't remember the last time I slept through the night. It's been a while. But with these books landing in my library, on my library shelf, I feel like this weekend is going to be a great one full of romance and love and adventure. Another element that I'm kind of thinking about in the back of my head is that I'm technically 3 books behind on my overall yearly reading goal. And I'm not really pressed about it. I'm not super trying to smash my reading goal in terms of number of books this year. I've said it this year and last year. I don't really care number-wise how much I read, but that is something I'm thinking about a little bit. So if I get to a couple of these books, that would help me achieve my yearly reading goals. I'm trying at least to focus on quality, not quantity, and also I'm focusing on all of my hobbies this year and last year, not just reading. Although reading while doing something else is the best. Double hobby action is where I thrive. Look at how far away I can be. I'm going to have way more fun with camera angles than I ever have before. And look, you can actually see my doggies. Want to say hi, Hiccup? Please don't lick it. Don't. He licked it. So I just fed the doggies. I finished my work day. Normally what I do is, I don't know, sit on the couch for a bit. If it was sunny out, I'd definitely be taking the dogs on a you-know-what around the block. Trying to exercise a little bit. But it's raining and cold, hence the sweater I'm trying to wear today. But also, my cramps are back, so I've got my hot pad right here. And I've got audiobooks to read. I've got ebooks to read. Also, I'm going to play with, different camera angles because this is kind of fun that I can now be way back here and you can still hear me. So, oh, there's Tetra. Anyway, the plan... she's the star of the show. The plan is actually to start with the ebook of the Tamara Jure book, because that's like a novella is what I was looking at with the page count. It's only like 100 and something pages, so maybe we'll try to do a quick win in this video, and we'll go from there. I don't know. We'll just kind of play it by ear. Okay, so I just started this book. It's not very long at all. A Wolf Steps in Blood. I'm 16% in. It's only a 150-page novella. So I was expecting some level of insta-love, but I wasn't expecting to be confused by the world building, by the characters' actions not making sense. So I started this, and you're just like thrown in, and you have our main character Yasmin, who is a werewolf, and she is in rural Alabama, and she works at this greasy diner, and at the end of her shift, a witch walks in the door, and there's like this instant connection between them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not I don't love insta love, but it can work for me. It's definitely worked in the past. But that's not really the problem. The problem is the character is behaving in a confusing way. So she goes home and cries, and I'm like, why, girl, why are you crying? The author is, to me, not giving me enough context to explain why the character is behaving the way that she's behaving. And they're like, oh yeah, there's this wolf witch bond, and that's maybe what we have. That's why we're so drawn to each other. Hiccup, go away. But it's so slapdash. I don't really understand what's even happening. And then they meet again, and suddenly they're doing the deed, and I'm just, it's almost confusing. And I don't know if it's me, because I've read another book by this author and I did not feel this way about her other work, or their other work, excuse me. I did not feel this way about their other novel. There was enough context and enough explanation and world building to explain kind of what was happening. But I'm really confused, actually, and to the point of me wanting to put the book down. I don't know. And now I'm reading a sex scene, and it's fine, but I just don't understand what's happening and why. I was hoping from this angle you could see Tetra, but she's got her head down, so you can just see some ears. Good news, bad news. Bad news is, remember how I was saying, I've not been feeling well, I've had a rough week health-wise? Well, that has continued. I do not feel very well today. Not one bit. And so I've mostly been just sitting on the couch and listening to my audiobook and reading, which is the pro. The pro is I've been able to read a lot, with mixed results, and we'll get into it. First, very quickly, I read the entirety of Volume 14 of Man and His Cate by Umi Sakurai. This volume was okay. This is kind of how I felt for the last couple of volumes. The gimmick of the talking cat, or the cat's perspective, is starting to get old. The story feels really drawn out at this point in the series. And yeah, I think I'm just losing a little bit of steam with this series. I don't know if there's much more for me to get out of it. I really love the first 10 volumes of this series, but the last couple have not really wowed me, unfortunately. So that's like a 3-star read. I did decide to DNF Wolf Steps in Blood. I read about 30 pages of this, which is about 16%. And the reason is I was confused. I think this is very confusingly written, and this is an insta-love story, which I'm not against, actually. I think it can be done well, but it was the way that this was written. I was reading it with my eyes, so I was just very confused by the writing. I didn't understand the characters, the character motivations, the world building, like none of it. So I just was like, you know what? No, thank you. We're gonna move on to the next read. And then I read the entirety of Get Over It, April Evans. So we have a lot to talk about with this one. So the premise of this is we have our main character, well, 2 main characters, April, whose ex-fiance cheated on her with a woman named Daphne. And this is a love story between April and Daphne. So April's ex's ex. They find themselves working at the same summer art camp class. So they are co-teachers for the same class, and they also were roommates. They have to live in a cabin together for the duration of the summer course. So of course there's stakes and tension, but these two are also competing for a spot at an exhibition in a famous queer London art gallery. Okay, so we have a lot going on. And I liked this, but I didn't love it. I feel very similarly about this one as I did about Ramona Riley, which was this author's previous work, which is I feel like this story was more about the characters figuring their stuff out, and kind of, it was almost a coming of age, but coming into adulthood, realizing who you are. April's tattoo shop has failed, and she's kind of starting over again in her 30s and trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. And Daphne is out of a serious relationship, and she never really got to have like a dating life. She's pretty naive in a lot of ways, and she's kind of still a baby queer. She never really dated anyone else before, and so she's kind of working through and, trying to figure out who she is as a person, post this relationship, and post, like trying to live her own life and not be with somebody and have that be your identity. So I felt like this story was more about the individual characters' journeys than it was about the romance and them coming together. I liked them as a couple in theory, but in execution, I didn't feel the push and pull, the yearning, the romantic development as much. I was also disappointed in a couple of small elements in the story. First of all, there is the competition element. They're competing for this exhibition spot, and that was an opportunity for great tension between the characters. We love each other, or we're into each other, but we're rivals. Shouldn't we hate each other? Like, there was really none of that, angst. And also the resolution of you're my ex's ex, like that angst doesn't really come into play. They kind of lay it out in the open in the beginning of the book, and it's not really brought up again. I mean, it is in a way, but it isn't. You don't really feel the angst about it. And so I feel like there were just a couple of things that the author could have done to amp up the angst and tension between the characters in those two regards. There was also an element in here where we go to a play party. And if you don't know what that is, you're too young to watch this video, and you can go look it up yourself with adult supervision, children. But they're at this play party, and they start flirting at the play party, and then they decide to leave the play party to continue the shenanigans and have their smut scene. And I'm like, what is the point of having a play party in a book and you not doing anything with that? Because that is a great way to add that is a great opportunity to add some element of voyeurism with other people in the room. Like, you could have done so much with that, and instead they go home. And even at a play party, you can go into a room and have private time, but it's being with other people in the home or in the basement that we could be caught. It adds an element of taboo and interest, and there was none of that. And so I was like, what is the point of even having a play party if you're not going to do anything with it and make it fun and interesting? Okay, my last tiny little gripe is April is a tattoo artist, and she calls it a tattoo gun, and I don't know why this is such a big pet peeve of mine, but it is not a tattoo gun. Please stop, authors. If you're going to write a tattoo artist as a character, it's a tattoo machine. It is not a gun. It doesn't even resemble a gun. Please, please, please stop doing this. I don't know why this is something that bothers me. I have 5 or 6 tattoos, and I've interacted with several tattoo artists because of it. And I know that this can be a pet peeve of some tattoo artists, how it's referred to in pop culture media. But it really bothers me when it comes across in text. It's happened a couple of times to me. I'm like, no, it's not a tattoo gun. But again, that is a tiny little writing gripe that I have. So it sounds like I disliked this book a lot, and I really didn't. It was just I even had middling expectations, but even I feel like my expectations were not met with this book. I was expecting more from it, especially I feel like this book had all of the elements in it, but they just needed to be ramped up. Pretty much every element needed to be ramped up. The stakes and tension, the angst, the competition, you're my ex's ex, that needed all to be ramped up. Instead, we focused on the characters and their individual journeys, which is fine. I ultimately felt just fine about this book. And I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars. So I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. If you're interested, here's my ranking of Ashley Herring Blake adult romance, sapphic romances. So up top, we have Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. That is my favorite of hers, 5 out of 5 stars. Then we have Delilah Green Doesn't Care. That's a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then it's probably this one at a 3.75. And then the next would be Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. That was a 3.5 for me. And then at 2 stars, we have Make the Season Bright, which I detested. So there you go. There's a quick ranking of all of this author's sapphic romances that I've read. So will I continue reading this author? I think I will. But again, I think I'm going to keep reading these from the library now instead of pre-ordering them. A 3.75 is nothing to sneer at in terms of rating. Tetra, would you like to tell the vlog how you're feeling about mommy being on the couch all the time? Yeah. She's my little shadow. Hello, everyone. How do you show off your whole outfit on video? I'm about to head to a brunch with family, and in the meantime, while my husband is getting ready, I can tell you about The Earl That Got Away. This was really good, y'all. I'm so thrilled, which is kind of unexpected because I hated Persuasion. But this second chance romance really worked for me. I think the author balanced the past timeline and the present timeline really, really well, so we understood both times of their relationship really well. And also the reason that they broke up initially, specifically why Naya broke up with our Earl here, was super justified, and their miscommunication was really understandable, and it totally makes sense in the past why they broke up at that time. And in the present timeline, I was really convinced of their love in the present as well. I really liked this. The one thing that I didn't love about this was the smut scenes are they're explicit, but not at the same time. They're kind of glossed over fairly quickly. And I'm like, oh man, we spent so long with these characters, like pining and yearning and angsty, and we get, terminology but it's so quick. It was over so fast. I kind of wanted that moment to be dragged out longer. Maybe I'm just horny. But it felt a little rushed to me. The whole book was, it's a really quick read. It's less than 8 hours on audio, which is really quick audiobook. But I really enjoyed it, y'all, and I'm giving it a 4.5 star. Like, I really like this. If you have not picked up Diana Quincy, you definitely should if you're a historical romance fan. I really liked it. I liked her other book as well, which was Her Night with the Duke, I believe, and that was a 4-star read as well. So this author is totally killing it in the historical romance sphere. And I am going to go to brunch, but I really want to show off my outfit because it's super cute. I'm going to have to tilt you down. Okay, so we got cute butterfly shirt, tank top, shorts, a moth belt, and red tights, and the red of the tights matches the red butterflies. Thank you for indulging me and my outfit of the day. Hello, let's do a good news, bad news situation. Bad news is we're ending the vlog. But good news is I think this is a really successful weekend of reading, and I've actually been really inspired to keep reading romance, which is a nice place to be in a genre I'm really enjoying at the moment. So to wrap everything up, I attempted to read 4 or 5 books this vlog. Unfortunately, I did not finish A Wolf Steps in Blood. The writing just was really confusing to me, so I skipped that novella. I also started and completed A Man and His Cate, volume 14, which I am not loving the continuation of this series, but this is a cute time, and I think I give this one 3 stars. I don't know if the series has any more for me, but I might go reread volume 1 through 10 again, just because I love those first installments a lot. I also read Get Over It, April Evans in its entirety, which was a pretty good romance for me. Not perfect, but I ended up giving that one 3.75, and it is my 3rd favorite book by the author compared to all of her other adult sapphic romances. What else? For my physical read, I did get 100 pages into this 400-page physical read, which is Always Practice Safe Hex by Juliet Cross. I'm still really enjoying this. I'm just a slow physical reader because of my hands. But I'm still really enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. It's a silly, goofy, raunchy time. And this is very smut forward and plot and character light. But I'm still eating it up and having a good time with this. And my last and most surprising read of the whole vlog is The Earl That Got Away by Diana Quincy, and I gave this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this second chance romance, which are words I often do not say. Second chance is not typically my go-to, but I think this author really pulled it off in this historical retelling of Persuasion. I really like this. I think you guys are sleeping on Diana Quincy. I really think more people need to read her. I think this book, this particular one, only has like 700 reviews on Goodreads, which is a travesty. Travesty, in my opinion. So if you read any books from this list, definitely go check out Diana Quincy, in my opinion. And the reading continues. I'm so glad I did this vlog because now I'm actually feeling even more inspired to read, which is a great place to be and a great mood to be in. So I'm actually in the middle of another romance read, but you'll have to find out about that at the end of the month. Thank you so much for watching this vlog, and I will see you in another video of mine very soon. Bye.